if every cause has an effect and every effect was caused by something that previously happened, does that mean we got free will? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. Stay tuned. What's going on, folks? It's your boy Javier Javier with the Javier Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. We're going to get into free will today. So if you ain't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach a goal of 1,000 subscribers. That way we can keep the videos coming, great content, and we can spice things up a little bit more, and I can try new things. But with that being said, let's get into the video. So, does free will exist? Well, I'm going to do my best to try to explain my perception on whether or not we got free will. I know there's a lot of big thinkers out there like Sam Harris and Dan Dennett, and a lot of guys out there trying to figure out does free will exist. You got people like Ben Shapiro, you got people like Jordan Peterson. A lot of these people have these discussions about free will. So what do you think? Do we have free will? I personally think there is no free will. If cause and effect operates in the universe, whereas anything that happens had something that came before it that caused the same outcome, we are a part of the universe. All of us operate within the laws and boundaries of this known universe. With that being said, your brain operates by cause and effect. All the synapses and all of the wiring and the electrons and neutrons and the whole shebang is happening, and a lot of it's happening without any of our knowledge. We don't know exactly how these things operate and how they work. So I'm under the impression that if every cause has an effect and every effect was previously caused, then that must mean that if the things that are going on in our brain is out of our control and we can't cause how our brain functions, then we can't determine the effect. Now, I'm under the impression that free will is an illusion. We don't truly at this moment understand why the brain works the way that it does. We don't even understand how it works the way that it does. Not fully. We have a good grasp on a few things, whether or not if you tweak this and tweak that, or if this part of your brain lights up, then we can kind of try to determine what it is that you're thinking or how you're feeling and what's your experience. But with that being said, what makes me different from the guy across the street or the guy that is on this YouTube channel, and why is he talking about nails and hammers, and why am I talking about politics and news? That's a good question. I'm under the impression that this guy has a different DNA and he has different experiences. Those things are the prior causes, and this is the effect that you get after those things have happened and taken place. So a lot of people argue that we do have free will. There are some people who argue that we have certain things that we can't control, but after you reach a certain threshold, then you have choices that you have to choose from. But what makes you choose the choice that you're going to choose? That is what makes it amazing to think about free will. Because I know myself, I walk around every day believing that I make the choices that I make because I chose those choices. But why did I choose a choice that this guy didn't choose? Why do I only think about certain things that are out of my control? You ever been sitting somewhere like at a movie theater or sitting down eating dinner with your family, and all of a sudden you think about something that happened the other day? Where did that thought come from? Did you control that thought? Did you go out into the ether, pull that thought out and say, I'm going to think this thought at this moment? Now, I get that thoughts are different from actions. And there may be a distinction between actions and thoughts. Whereas you can think something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to act it out. You may sometimes do things that contradict what it is that you think. We have what you call cognitive dissonance. With that being said, why do we choose the choices that we choose? Now, I use the word choose and choice not in a literal sense. I mean it as from what we come to understand as choices. Because I still think that we should hold people accountable for the things that they do. Not because we should be punishing them because of what they did. It's to keep them safe from others and keep them safe from themselves. We can't live in a society where we don't hold people accountable for the things that they do. But what person wakes up in the morning to decide, I'm going to be this type of person because of what reasons? Everything that you do for a reason. Are those reasons predetermined by you, or are they predetermined by the laws of nature? Is it the cause and effect that led you to feel the way that you felt at that exact moment, to have the experiences that you had, to make that decision when you made that decision? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you keep saying decisions and you keep saying choices. Well, that's the way that we learn to communicate. That's how we best describe what it is that's being acted out. So with that being said, I'm trying to figure this out because I don't believe in free will. I know a lot of people believe in free will, and that's a conversation that hopefully this video will spark a conversation and get us talking about free will. A lot of us has been talking about free will for a long time. I've listened to some of the things that Sam Harris has said about free will, and I kind of agree with him on a lot of that. So a lot of you may disagree, and we're going to talk about that in the comments below because I'm really interested to get your take on free will. Now, the counter argument, especially from a religious perspective, a lot of religious people really believe in free will. They really believe that you have the power to choose what it is that you want to make the decisions that you choose. I don't know what I just said there. Scratch it out. Boop. So, restart. A lot of religious people out there think that they have the power to choose their destiny. They have the power to make free choices. And it's because they believe in a higher power has handed that down to them and allowed them to be able to make those decisions. But when we think about the limitations and we think about all the things that causes us to choose A versus B, then I'll ask you, why did you choose A versus B? And you can give me a long list of why you chose what you chose. Can you determine why those reasons are the way that they are? For example, you can't make somebody understand something that they just can't understand. It's not a choice. You literally either understand it or you don't. So I'm under the impression that you just have to work with what you got. Now, what does that mean? If there's no free will, and free will is an illusion, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? I mean, there are studies that show that people who have brain damage or people who have tumors in their brains, it affects their behavior. So what's the difference between a healthy brain and an unhealthy brain? At what point do you stop having free will? At what point does your brain take over and makes you do the things that you do that you don't want to do? A lot of us do things that we don't want to do all the time, and we can't even explain it. A lot of us have ways about ourselves that we can't explain. Just like you might trip and try to catch yourself before you could even think, should I catch myself or not? Your brain is already pre-programmed to save you in an instinctual level. But at the same time, you would get up and say, I caught myself. But did you really catch yourself? Then there's this argument. You are your brain. So if you are your brain and your brain is making the decisions, is that not you making the decisions? That's an interesting conversation, right? So I'll put it like this. If you are your brain, which you are your brain, so with that being said, your brain is making the decisions, therefore you're making the decisions. But where I draw the line is, what does it mean to be you? Like, the brain that you have, was that originally a choice? When did you choose to have the brain that you have? Or better yet, when did your brain choose to be the brain that it is? How much control can a person have over the way that their brain operates? Of course, there are things that you can train yourself to be better at and to be accustomed to get rid of this and to do that. But it still doesn't account for why you was motivated to do those things in the first place. What gave this person the ambition to go out and be something and this other person was just lazy? You think that lazy person want to be lazy? You don't think that lazy person wouldn't choose to have the same ambition as the other person? Can you choose to be somebody else? Literally, like, change the way you fundamentally think and mimic exactly somebody else's brain if it's a choice? These are a lot of deep questions. This is like an introduction on free will, because as I'm talking more and more, I'm getting more and more excited even thinking about what free will could actually mean. What does it really mean to have free will? These are important questions. I know a lot of y'all probably ask this question a lot. If some of y'all may not be into this, but I think free will is an illusion. I think cause and effect. Something happened and it's a ripple effect. You get what you get. We are matter in motion. And last time I checked, matter is subject to the laws of nature. And the laws of nature says that you have cause and effect, and all things in the universe operate off of that law. So, what's your thoughts? I want anybody watching this video, share this video, like this video, have this conversation down in the comments below. What side do you fall on? Are you free will advocate, or do you think free will is a whole bunch of BS and people just are not smart enough to figure it out and understand why we don't have free will? Is it still a heated debate, or do you think that the situation is settled? Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it. I got much more videos coming in the future. Hopefully we get that 1,000 subscribers mark. So if you haven't subscribed to the Javier Lobby yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. You came, you heard, you saw. Now run. Tell them I said it. And if they ask for me by name, make sure you say it twice. This is the Javier Javier Show.